1. Laugh more, a Stoic superpower hiding in plain sight. Let's be real, life gets heavy. We pile on stress, chase deadlines, and treat every task like it's life or death. Somewhere along the way, we forget how to relax and laugh. But here's the twist, laughter isn't just a nice bonus when things go right. According to both science and Stoic philosophy, it's a powerful practice that can seriously boost your mental health, resilience, and even your perspective on life. At first glance, laughter doesn't exactly scream stoicism. The Stoics are known for discipline, emotional control, and facing adversity with unwavering calm. But that doesn't mean they were cold or joyless. In fact, they understood the value of lightness, of not taking everything so seriously that you crush your own spirit in the process. Epictetus famously said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them." That includes whether we choose to meet life's chaos with tension, or with a smile. From a scientific standpoint, laughter is nothing short of medicine. Real belly-shaking laughter triggers the release of endorphins and serotonin, the chemicals that naturally elevate your mood. It lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, reduces physical tension, and even strengthens your immune system. You're not just feeling better in the moment, you're becoming more resilient for the long run. Imagine laughter like your emotional seatbelt on the roller coaster of life. It won't flatten the bumps, but it will help you ride them out with less damage. Dr. Lee Burke of Loma Linda University found that people who laugh regularly experience lower blood pressure, better sleep, and improved coping abilities, even among those facing serious illness. If it works for cancer patients going through the toughest battles of their lives, it can work for you too. So what if life feels too serious to laugh? What if you're dealing with stress, uncertainty, or emotional fatigue? That's where Stoicism comes in again. It teaches us that while we can't control what happens to us, we can choose how we respond. Laughter is one of those choices, a form of control that doesn't deny reality but reframes it. And here's the kicker, your brain doesn't know the difference between real and fake laughter. Studies show that even intentional, forced laughter, like in laughter yoga or therapy, triggers the same positive effects. So don't wait for the perfect joke or a hilarious movie to come along. Laugh at a silly memory. Smile at your own clumsiness. Find humor in the absurdity of everyday life. Let's say you're stuck in traffic. You could fume, complain, and make yourself miserable. Or, you could laugh at the ridiculousness of the situation, listen to a funny podcast, or think about something that made you smile earlier. The point isn't to ignore reality, but to loosen its grip on you. Laughter breaks the cycle of reactivity and gives you back your emotional freedom. If you make laughter a habit, just like journaling or meditation, you'll begin to see its deeper power. You'll train your brain to scan for joy, not just danger. You'll start bouncing back from setbacks faster. And perhaps most importantly, you'll remember not to take yourself too seriously. The Stoics weren't about turning off emotion, they were about using it wisely. Laughter is one of the smartest emotional tools we have. It lightens the heart, sharpens perspective, and connects us to others in a way few things can. So laugh. Not because life is easy, but because it's hard, and laughter makes it easier to bear. In a world full of pressure, that's not weakness. It's wisdom. 2. Get outside and reconnect with nature, your mind needs it. When was the last time you truly felt connected to the world around you, not through a screen, but through your senses? In today's fast-paced, indoor-driven lifestyle, we spend most of our time surrounded by artificial lighting, stale air, and glowing screens. We go from our beds to our desks, to our phones, to our TVs, barely stepping outside unless absolutely necessary. It's no wonder so many of us feel mentally exhausted, physically drained, and emotionally disconnected. But here's the truth. We weren't designed to live this way. For most of human history, we lived in sync with the natural world. Our bodies, minds, and rhythms evolved alongside sunlight, trees, rivers, and fresh air. The Stoics knew this long before science confirmed it. To them, nature wasn't just beautiful, it was the blueprint for living wisely. One of Stoicism's core principles is to live according to nature. That means understanding that we are not separate from the natural world, we are part of it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." There's something deeply calming about that reminder. Nature flows at its own pace, without stress or panic. And when we align ourselves with that rhythm, life becomes clearer, calmer, and more manageable. Modern science backs this up in a big way. Research shows that spending time outside, even just 20 minutes a day, can reduce cortisol levels, the hormone linked to stress, lower blood pressure, and improve focus. According to a study published in Environmental Health Perspectives, people who spend time in green spaces report higher well-being and lower anxiety. This isn't about going off the grid or planning a week-long hiking trip, though that's great if you can. Even small moments of connection with the outdoors can have a huge impact. A short walk in the park. Sitting under a tree. Watching the sunset from your porch. Breathing in fresh air and noticing how the breeze feels on your skin. These small actions act like a mental reset. In Japan, there's even a practice called Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, spending intentional time in wooded areas to reduce stress and improve health. Studies show it works. But the concept doesn't require a forest. You can get the same benefits from any natural setting, your backyard, a city park, even a rooftop garden. The Stoics also believed that nature was our best teacher. When you spend time in nature, you begin to observe life's patterns, the way trees grow slowly but surely, how seasons change with patience, how rivers carve through rock with gentle persistence. It's a powerful reminder that progress doesn't have to be rushed, and that growth often happens quietly, over time. Nature also puts your problems in perspective. Standing next to an ancient tree or staring out at the ocean, your daily worries suddenly feel a lot smaller. You're reminded that the world is bigger than your deadlines, notifications, or to-do lists. And let's not forget the physical side. Walking in nature improves cardiovascular health, boosts energy, and reduces rumination, those repetitive negative thoughts that feed anxiety and depression. According to Stanford researchers, walking in green spaces reduces activity in the part of the brain linked to brooding. So if you're feeling stuck in your head, the solution might be as simple as stepping outside. So how do you start? Keep it simple. Open a window. Step out for a short walk. Eat your lunch outdoors. Notice the sunlight, the wind, the sounds of birds or rustling leaves. Make nature part of your routine. Not just a weekend treat. The more time you spend outside, the more you'll crave it, and the more grounded, balanced, and alive you'll feel. As the Stoics would say, return to what is natural. And you'll return to yourself. 3. Be a morning person, own the start of your day. Let's be honest, mornings get a bad rap. For many people, the sound of the alarm clock feels like punishment. The bed is warm, the world is quiet, and the temptation to hit snooze, just one more time, is strong. Modern life has made it easy to stay up late, binge shows, scroll endlessly, and stretch the night out until exhaustion wins. But here's a truth that both science and Stoicism agree on: how you start your day often shapes the rest of it. The Stoics weren't fans of wasting time. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of Stoicism's greatest voices, had to face more responsibility in a day than most of us will in a year. Yet even he struggled with getting out of bed. In Meditations, he reminded himself, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work, as a human being. For him, the morning wasn't just another chore, it was a call to live with purpose. That's what becoming a morning person is really about. It's not about waking up early for the sake of it. It's about taking ownership of the first hours of your day, when your mind is fresh, distractions are few, and the world hasn't yet started pulling at your attention. You gain control instead of feeling like you're constantly playing catch-up. Science backs this up. Studies show that early risers tend to be more proactive, optimistic, and less prone to stress. A study from the University of Toronto found that people who get up early consistently report higher levels of life satisfaction and mental well-being. Waking up with intention gives you a head start, not just on your tasks, but on your mindset. And no, you don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. and run a marathon before sunrise. The goal isn't to follow someone else's rigid routine. It's to gradually adjust your schedule so it works for you. Start by going to bed 15 minutes earlier and waking up 15 minutes sooner. Do it consistently, and soon it becomes second nature. What should you do with that extra morning time? This is where you plant the seeds for the rest of your day. Maybe you journal, meditate, stretch, or read. Maybe you simply enjoy a quiet cup of coffee before the noise begins. The Stoics believed in self-reflection, time to check in with your thoughts, your intentions, your values. Mornings are the perfect space for that kind of clarity. Think of it this way, your mind is like a clean slate in the morning. Whatever you put on it sets the tone for everything that follows. If you jump straight into chaos, emails, texts, news, you're starting your day in reaction mode. But if you begin with stillness, intention, or even a bit of gratitude, you build momentum in the direction you actually want to go. Mornings also align with your body's natural rhythm. We're wired to follow a circadian cycle, a 24-hour internal clock that works best when we wake with the sun and sleep with the dark. Syncing with that rhythm improves sleep quality, energy levels, and overall health. Yes, the transition can be tough at first. You'll feel groggy. You'll be tempted to slide back into old habits. But stay the course. The rewards compound. You'll feel calmer, more focused, and better prepared to handle whatever the day throws your way. Becoming a morning person isn't about perfection, it's about purpose. It's a quiet commitment to start each day in alignment with your values. It's a practice of discipline, reflection, and self-respect. And over time, it becomes one of the simplest, most powerful changes you can make. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm rings, resist the urge to hit snooze. Instead, rise with purpose. Embrace the stillness. And let your morning set the tone for a better day, and a better life. 4. Pack your days with plans, don't let time slip away. Ever had a day disappear without knowing where it went? You wake up with no real plans, just go with the flow, and suddenly, it's bedtime, and you're left feeling like you accomplished nothing. Compare that to a day when you had clear intentions, meaningful tasks, and things to look forward to. That kind of day leaves you feeling fulfilled, energized, and like your time actually mattered. The Stoics understood this better than most. Seneca, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, warned that, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Time, he argued, is one of our most precious resources. Once it's gone for good. So why do we spend so much of it drifting? Packing your day doesn't mean stuffing every second with work. It means being intentional with how you spend your time, choosing to fill it with things that matter to you, things that bring purpose, growth, or even joy. We live in a world filled with distractions. Notifications, endless content, and background noise can easily eat up our hours. Without a plan, we default to the easiest option, scrolling, snacking, procrastinating. But when you take control of your schedule, even in small ways, you start taking control of your life. That doesn't mean becoming a robot with every minute accounted for. On the contrary, a well-planned day should include space for spontaneity, rest, and creativity. The point is not rigidity, it's intention. It's about trading mindless busyness for mindful activity. Start by identifying what truly matters to you. What gives you energy? What's been sitting on your someday list for too long? Maybe it's a hobby, spending time with loved ones, learning something new, or getting physically active. Schedule those things in like you would a meeting. Give them importance, not just in your mind, but on your calendar. Studies show that people who plan their time feel more in control and experience higher life satisfaction. According to research in the Journal of Experimental Psychology, setting daily goals, even small ones, boosts motivation and gives us a stronger sense of purpose. Try breaking your day into blocks. Mornings can be for deep work or personal development. Afternoons for social or creative activities. Evenings for reflection or relaxation. This doesn't have to be rigid, it's just a flexible framework to keep your day balanced and focused. And don't underestimate small wins. Making your bed, finishing a book chapter, calling a friend, these little actions add up. They create momentum, build confidence, and make your day feel full instead of foggy. Of course, not every day will go perfectly. Life happens, plans get interrupted, emergencies arise, or energy dips. That's okay. The Stoics emphasized flexibility in the face of the unexpected. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. If your day gets derailed, don't beat yourself up. Just reset, adapt, and make the most of what's left. Ultimately, packing your day with plans isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. It's about filling your time with meaning, not just movement. When your day is aligned with your values, you go to bed feeling satisfied, not because you were busy, but because you were intentional. So tomorrow, try this: before the day begins, pause and plan. Even just 3 priorities. Ask yourself, what would make today meaningful? Then go live it. Because as the Stoics remind us, time is fleeting. But a day well spent, that stays with you forever. 5. Don't quit on what you love, the struggle is part of the reward. Everyone hits a wall. Maybe it's a side project you used to be passionate about. A dream job that now feels exhausting. A hobby that once lit you up but now feels more like a chore. Somewhere along the way, life got hard. The motivation faded, and the idea of quitting quietly crept in. But before you give up, ask yourself this: did you stop loving it, or did it just stop being easy? The Stoics had a deep respect for perseverance. They believed that the path to a meaningful life wasn't paved with comfort, it was filled with difficulty, setbacks, and challenges. Seneca put it best: "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that they are difficult." In other words, most people quit not because something is impossible, but because they lose the courage to keep trying. In today's instant results culture, it's easy to assume that if something isn't effortless, it must not be right for us. But the truth is, anything worth having requires effort. Whether it's mastering a skill, building a business, creating art, or cultivating a relationship, there will be days it feels tough. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're in the middle of something real. Think about a time you stuck with something that challenged you. Maybe it was learning an instrument, running a race, writing a book, or simply showing up day after day. Sure, there were moments of doubt, but there was also growth, depth, and fulfillment that only came from pushing through. That's the reward. Not just the result, but the person you become along the way. Science supports this too. A study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that people who consistently engage in passion-driven activities report higher well-being, lower stress, and a stronger sense of purpose. Why? Because doing what you love taps into something deeper than instant gratification. It connects you to meaning. The Stoics teach us not to chase outcomes, but to focus on effort. Epictetus reminded his students that we can't control the results, only the work we put in. That shift in mindset is powerful. It turns struggle from something to avoid into something to embrace. The tough days become part of the journey, not a reason to stop. Yes, it's tempting to quit when progress feels slow. But here's a truth you can count on: the things you walk away from because they're hard are often the same things you'll regret not finishing. The Stoics would argue that regret, knowing you gave up on something meaningful, is a heavier burden than any temporary discomfort. So what can you do when you feel like quitting? First, reconnect with your why. What made you fall in love with this in the first place? What does it bring out in you? Sometimes we lose sight of our passion because we get buried in the pressure to perform or produce. Step back and remember what sparked you to begin with. Next, take smaller steps. Don't worry about the finish line. Focus on the next inch. Write one paragraph. Practice for 10 minutes. Make one phone call. Progress doesn't have to be dramatic, it just has to continue. Finally, remind yourself that struggle isn't failure. It's fuel. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle isn't there to stop you, it's there to strengthen you. In the end, doing what you love isn't always easy. But it's always worth it. Because every time you keep going when it would be easier to stop, you're building something stronger than success, you're building character, resilience, and a life that truly means something. So whatever it is you love, don't quit. Not today. 6. Go for kindness. It's a strength, not a weakness. Kindness often feels underrated in today's world. With people rushing through their day, glued to screens, or reacting out of stress, it's easy to think that kindness is soft, something you show when life is easy. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Kindness is not weakness. It's power, discipline, and a stoic act of strength. The Stoics believe that while we can't control what other people say or do, we always control how we respond. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire, wrote, "Kindness is invincible." But he didn't mean fake politeness or being overly agreeable. He meant genuine kindness, the kind that comes from a place of inner strength, not fear or people-pleasing. Kindness, when sincere, disarms hostility, builds connection, and reflects emotional control. It means choosing compassion even when you're frustrated. It means helping someone up when it would be easier to look away. It means staying centered when others lash out. That's real power. Science backs this up, too. Studies show that kindness boosts mood, reduces stress, and even improves physical health. When you engage in a kind act, like helping someone, giving a compliment, or simply being present, your brain releases oxytocin, the so-called love hormone. Oxytocin lowers blood pressure and strengthens feelings of connection and calm. Even witnessing kindness has a ripple effect. It's called the kindness contagion. When you see someone be kind, you're more likely to act kindly yourself. That ripple spreads across families, workplaces, communities. A single act can set off a chain reaction. But what about when kindness feels hard, when someone's rude, unfair, or downright cruel? The Stoics were clear. Don't lower yourself to their level. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Responding to unkindness with more unkindness just deepens the conflict. But responding with dignity and calm, that shows who's truly in control. This doesn't mean becoming a doormat. Stoicism is not about letting people walk all over you. It's about setting boundaries with grace. You can say no firmly and still be respectful. You can disagree without being cruel. Kindness doesn't mean giving up your power, it means using it wisely. Kindness also connects directly to another Stoic value, our shared humanity. Epictetus taught that we are all citizens of the same world, linked by a divine spark. That means we owe each other a basic level of respect, not because others always deserve it, but because we choose to offer it. As Seneca put it, wherever there is a human being, There is an opportunity for kindness. So how do you bring more kindness into your life? Start small. Hold the door open. Ask someone how their day is, and actually listen. Send a message to a friend just to check in. These little actions cost you almost nothing but carry a surprising amount of emotional weight. Over time, they form the kind of person you are. Someone others trust, respect, and feel safe around. Be mindful, too. In moments of frustration, pause. Ask yourself, what would a kind response look like? Often. That pause is all it takes to shift your reaction. And finally, be kind to yourself. The Stoics valued self-reflection, not self-punishment. Forgive your mistakes. Speak to yourself with the same compassion you'd offer a friend. Inner kindness creates outer kindness. In a world that often feels cold, hurried, and reactive, kindness is a radical choice. It's a way to live with purpose. It's how we rise above negativity without becoming negative ourselves. So the next time you wonder whether kindness matters, remember this: it may not fix everything. But it changes something, and sometimes, that's more than enough. 7. Say yes more often, open the door to growth and joy. How often do you turn down an opportunity, not because you're truly uninterested, but because it feels unfamiliar, uncomfortable, or just a little too risky? Maybe it's a new social event, a creative project, or a chance to take on more responsibility. Saying no can feel safe. But saying yes, even when it's uncomfortable, is often where life gets interesting. Stoic philosophy teaches us to embrace what's outside our comfort zone. The goal isn't to chase thrills or live recklessly, it's to live fully. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Part of that reaction involves having the courage to say yes to the unknown, to growth, and to possibility. We all have routines. They make us feel secure, structured, and in control. But they can also limit us. The Stoics believed in using reason to guide action, not fear, not laziness, and not inertia. When we get too comfortable, we stop stretching. We stop challenging our assumptions. And over time, we stop evolving. Saying yes doesn't mean you have to agree to everything or burn yourself out. It means recognizing when a little discomfort might be worth the reward. It means trading predictability for the possibility of something more joy, more connection, more understanding of yourself. Research backs this up. Studies in psychology have shown that trying new experiences, even small ones, activates the brain's reward system, releasing dopamine, which boosts mood and motivation. The very act of stepping into something new can make you feel more alive, even before you know how it turns out. Think about the last time you said no out of hesitation, not because it conflicted with your values, but because it made you nervous. What could have happened if you'd said yes? Maybe you would have learned something new. Met someone interesting. Discovered a side of yourself you didn't know existed. The Stoics taught that challenges are not to be feared, they're to be embraced. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." Growth doesn't come from ease. It comes from leaning into the unknown and seeing what you're capable of. Saying yes more often also improves your relationships. When you agree to spend time with people, support them, or simply be present in their world, you strengthen your bonds. So many meaningful connections start with a simple yes. A friend invites you out, even if you're tired. A coworker asks for help, and you give it. A family member wants to talk, and you listen. These little yes add up to a life rich in human connection. Of course, boundaries matter. Saying yes doesn't mean abandoning your needs or ignoring your limits. Stoicism teaches balance. Say yes with awareness. Say yes when it serves your values and opens your world, not when it drains your energy or compromises your integrity. You won't always get it right. You might say yes to something that turns out to be awkward, uncomfortable, or just not what you hoped. That's okay. The Stoics remind us that it's the effort, not the outcome, that builds character. Even failed experiences offer lessons. Over time, saying yes becomes easier. You build confidence. You begin to see that most fears shrink the moment you face them. That life doesn't hand out certainty, but it does reward the brave. So the next time an opportunity comes your way, big or small, pause before your usual no, ask yourself, what could I gain from this? What might I learn? How could this move me forward? If there's even a spark of curiosity, lean into it. Because saying yes isn't about recklessness, it's about readiness. Readiness to grow, to connect. And to experience more of what life has to offer. 8. Turn off your phone sometimes, reclaim your mind and your life. We live in a world where being constantly connected feels normal, even necessary. Notifications buzz, messages pop up, and we're always just one swipe away from distraction. Our phones have become extensions of our hands, our minds, even our identities. But what are we giving up in exchange for constant connection? The Stoics never held smartphones, but they understood one of life's most important truths: presence is power. And nothing pulls us away from the present quite like our devices. Seneca wrote, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." When your attention is scattered across apps, feeds, and alerts, you're not really living, you're reacting. We reach for our phones when we're bored, anxious, or even when we don't know why. It's become a habit loop: check, scroll, repeat. But here's the thing, this endless cycle isn't harmless. Studies have shown that excessive phone use is linked to increased anxiety, poor sleep, reduced attention spans, and lower overall well-being. Turning off your phone, even briefly, isn't about rejecting technology. It's about choosing when and how to engage with it. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and your attention is one of your most valuable and controllable assets. If your phone is constantly pulling you away from meaningful experiences, then taking control starts with a simple but powerful decision: disconnect to reconnect. Start with small steps. Turn off your phone during meals. Leave it in another room when you're with friends or family. Silence notifications while working. Create device-free zones or hours, especially before bed. Studies show that screen time before sleep disrupts melatonin production, leading to poor rest and mental fog the next day. Just 30 minutes of screen-free time before bed can significantly improve sleep quality. And when you do turn it off, notice what happens. At first, you may feel restless or even anxious. That's normal. We've trained our brains to expect stimulation. But soon, something deeper kicks in: awareness. You start to notice the details around you, the way the light hits the wall, the sound of your own breathing, the taste of your food. You begin to return to your life, not the digital version of it, but the real thing. The Stoics valued reflection and solitude. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the need to retreat inward to find clarity and peace. He said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Turning off your phone isn't just about avoiding distraction, it's about creating space to think, to feel, to be. It also improves your relationships. Have you ever tried to talk to someone who kept glancing at their phone? It feels like you don't matter. Now flip that around: what message are you sending when you keep checking yours? Presence is a form of respect. When you put your phone down during a conversation, you're telling the other person, "I'm here. You matter." And here's something surprising. When you break the phone-checking habit, your productivity soars. Multitasking is a myth. Every time you switch from your work to a notification and back, your brain loses momentum. Studies show that people who reduce digital interruptions get more done in less time, and with less stress. None of this means you have to go off the grid. Phones are tools. And they can be amazing ones, when used intentionally. The goal isn't to cut yourself off from the world. It's to take back your attention so you can live more deliberately. So try it. Turn off your phone for 30 minutes a day. Sit in silence. Go for a walk. Talk to someone, really talk. Read. Breathe. Feel what it's like to be fully present. Because in the quiet moments we often avoid, there's something waiting for us: clarity, peace, and the power to live life on our terms, not our phones. 9. Take breaks and go on trips. Rest is a responsibility, not a reward. In a world that glorifies hustle, rest often gets mistaken for laziness. We push through exhaustion, skip vacations, and wear busyness like a badge of honor. But here's the truth: without rest, we break. And both Stoicism and science agree, taking breaks isn't a luxury, it's essential for a healthy, meaningful life. The Stoics understood that a good life isn't about non-stop output, it's about balance. Seneca, one of Stoicism's wisest voices, wrote, "True happiness is, to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." That's hard to do when your mind is always racing or your body is always tense. Rest resets both. We're not just talking about week-long vacations, though those are great. We're also talking about the small breaks during your day. The quiet moments where you step away from your to-do list and reconnect with yourself. Modern research backs this up. Studies have shown that after about 90 minutes of focused work, our brains need a reset. Without a break, our performance and creativity decline. A quick walk, a stretch, even 5 minutes of deep breathing can improve concentration and lower stress. It's like hitting the refresh button on your brain. The Stoics might not have used productivity charts or brain scans, but they knew the power of stepping back. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, frequently took time to reflect, write, and reconnect with nature. He understood that leading well required thinking clearly, and that clarity only comes from rest. Vacations, too, have a deep Stoic connection. Not because they're an escape, but because they offer perspective. When you remove yourself from the grind of daily life, you return with fresh eyes. Whether it's a weekend in the mountains or a stroll through a new part of town, changing your environment changes your mindset. According to the Journal of Happiness Studies, people who take regular vacations experience more happiness, lower stress, and better productivity. Even anticipating a trip can boost your mood. You don't need luxury, just intention. And don't underestimate the emotional and spiritual renewal that comes from simply being in a different place. When you're surrounded by nature, walking through quiet streets, or gazing at a vast ocean, your problems shrink a bit. You're reminded of the bigger picture, that life isn't just about goals and deadlines. It's about experiences, reflection, and being. But let's get real. Many of us struggle with guilt when we rest. We feel like we should be doing something, achieving something. The Stoics would say, you're doing something. You're caring for your mind, your body, and your spirit. That's not indulgent. That's smart. So how can you make rest a habit instead of an afterthought? Start with micro breaks. Set a timer during the day to step away from your desk. Use that time to breathe deeply, take a walk, or just sit quietly. Don't fill it with more screen time. Give your brain space. Then, schedule real downtime. Put it on your calendar like any important meeting. Whether it's a solo hike, a day trip with friends, or a full-on vacation, plan it, and protect it. Remember, too, that rest doesn't have to mean doing nothing. For some, rest looks like gardening, painting, or reading a book. What matters is that you're doing something that nourishes you, not drains you. In the end, taking breaks and going on trips isn't about running from your life. It's about returning to it with renewed energy and clarity. The Stoics knew that a wise life was a balanced life, and balance requires rest. So go ahead. Step away. Take the trip. Sit in stillness. Give yourself the permission to pause. Because rest isn't something you earn. It's something you need in order to keep going, with strength, purpose, and presence. 10. Hang out with friends and family. Connection is the core of a good life. In the rush to chase goals, grow personally, or build a better future, it's easy to overlook something simple yet vital. The people around us. Friends. Family. Community. When life gets busy, relationships often slip into the background. We tell ourselves we'll reach out later, after work settles down. After the project ends, after we've caught up on sleep. But later often never comes. The Stoics, known for their focus on self-mastery and inner strength, also understood the deep importance of connection. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, wrote, "Men exist for the sake of one another." That wasn't just a sentiment, it was a reminder that no matter how self-disciplined or independent you are, life is meant to be shared. Strong relationships aren't just emotionally fulfilling, they're crucial to your well-being. According to a 75-year study by Harvard researchers, the single biggest predictor of long-term happiness and health wasn't wealth, fame, or achievement. It was close relationships. People who felt connected to others lived longer, had fewer health problems, and handled stress better than those who were isolated. And yet, in today's world, loneliness is at an all-time high. We've never been more digitally connected, yet emotionally distant. We substitute real conversations with quick texts. We scroll past updates instead of calling. We stay busy and tell ourselves we're just too tired to reach out. The Stoics would challenge that mindset. They saw relationships not as optional, but as central to a meaningful life. Epictetus taught that we are all part of one larger community. We are here to support one another, grow together, and act with compassion, especially when it's inconvenient. So how do we reclaim connection in a world that constantly pulls us apart? Start by making time. Don't wait for the perfect moment, it rarely comes. Schedule that phone call. Invite a friend to lunch. Visit your parents. Spend real, uninterrupted time with your partner or kids. These moments don't have to be big or dramatic. What matters is presence. When you're with someone, be there fully. Put away the phone. Stop thinking about your next task. Really listen. Look them in the eye. Laugh together. Sit in silence if needed. This kind of presence isn't just rare, it's powerful. It tells the other person, you matter. Relationships also require patience and understanding. Even with people we love, there will be conflict, frustration, or distance. The Stoics knew this, too. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to expect challenges from others, but to meet them with empathy, not anger. You can't control how others act, but you can control how you show up. And here's something else to consider, giving is just as important as receiving. Send a supportive message. Offer help without being asked. Show up when someone is going through a hard time, not with solutions, but with your presence. The smallest gestures can strengthen a bond more than grand words ever could. Finally, don't forget that relationships enrich all aspects of life. Celebrations mean more when shared. Struggles feel lighter when carried together. Achievements are sweeter when someone's cheering you on. As Seneca said, there is no enjoying the possession of anything valuable unless one has someone to share it with. So hang out with your people. Be intentional. Make the call, send the invite. Show up. Not because you have to, but because you get to. In a world that's constantly moving, human connection anchors us. And in the eyes of the Stoics, caring for those around you isn't just kindness, it's a vital part of living wisely, fully, and well. 11. Help others out, serving others strengthens you. In a world focused on personal success, it's easy to think that happiness comes from getting more money, more recognition, more status. But what if the real secret to a fulfilling life is found in giving more? Helping others isn't just a nice thing to do, it's one of the most powerful ways to build purpose, resilience, and even joy. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that we're not here to live in isolation, but to support one another as members of a larger human family. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee." That simple metaphor reminds us that individual well-being is deeply tied to the well-being of the people around us. Modern science agrees. Studies consistently show that people who regularly help others, whether through volunteering, mentoring, or small daily acts of kindness, report greater life satisfaction, lower levels of stress, and better mental health. Helping others triggers the brain's reward system, releasing dopamine and oxytocin, the same chemicals that boost mood, reduce anxiety, and strengthen feelings of connection. But helping others doesn't require grand gestures. You don't have to start a nonprofit or donate thousands of dollars. Often, it's the smallest acts that make the biggest impact: listening without interrupting, offering encouragement when someone is struggling, holding the door, or checking in on a friend who's having a tough time. Stoicism is built on the idea of focusing on what you can control. While you may not be able to fix every problem in someone's life, you can offer presence, patience, and perspective. Epictetus taught that we should live in harmony with our nature, and part of our nature, he believed, is to care for one another. You might wonder, what about me? What if I'm the one struggling? That's the beauty of service. Helping others often helps you just as much. When you step outside your own worries to support someone else, you gain perspective. Your problems don't vanish, but they become more manageable. You're reminded that you're not alone, that everyone carries burdens, and that even a small act of kindness can shift someone's day, and yours. Helping others also fosters a deeper sense of identity. When you contribute to someone else's well-being, you reinforce a powerful truth: you have value. You matter. You are capable of making a difference. But as the Stoics would warn, this doesn't mean neglecting your own needs or becoming a martyr. True service comes from strength, not burnout. You can't pour from an empty cup. Seneca advised balance: take care of yourself so you can take care of others. That means resting when needed, setting healthy boundaries, and offering help not out of guilt, but from a place of genuine intention. So how do you make service a habit? Start where you are. Look around your daily life. Is there someone who needs a hand, a kind word, or just someone to listen? You don't have to fix their life, you just have to show up. Be available. Be kind. You can also go bigger: volunteer your time. Mentor someone younger, or support a cause you believe in. Not for recognition or reward, but because it aligns with who you are. The Stoics taught that virtue is the highest good, and helping others is one of the purest expressions of virtue. And here's the ripple effect: when you help someone, you inspire them to help others. Kindness spreads. It creates momentum. It turns individuals into communities, and turns moments into meaning. In the end, helping others isn't just about changing their life. It's about transforming yours. It's about living with purpose, staying grounded in your values, and recognizing that in lifting others, you rise too. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The fruit of this life is a good character and acts for the common good." So help where you can. Serve when you're able. Be the reason someone else believes in humanity again. 12. Focus on the good stuff you've got. Gratitude changes everything. It's easy to fall into the trap of focusing on what's missing. A better job, a bigger house, more money, more time. Our culture constantly tells us to chase more, do more, be more. And while growth is important, this never-ending pursuit can leave us feeling like we're always one step behind happiness. But here's a truth the Stoics understood long before modern psychology caught up: happiness doesn't come from having everything. It comes from appreciating what you already have. Seneca said it best. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. That mindset, the constant craving, keeps us trapped. We measure our lives by comparison. Always looking over the fence instead of noticing the richness within our own yard. Gratitude flips that script. It shifts your attention from lack to abundance, from pressure to presence. And it's not just a nice idea, it's backed by science. Studies show that people who regularly practice gratitude report higher levels of happiness, lower stress, better sleep, and stronger relationships. Even something as simple as writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day can retrain your brain. You begin scanning your world for what's right instead of obsessing over what's wrong. Over time, that shift changes how you experience life, from the inside out. But the Stoics took gratitude even deeper. They didn't just appreciate the good, they also learned to find meaning in the bad. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess." He reminded himself to value the present moment, the simple things, breath, health, sunlight, relationships. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. Life is messy. There are challenges, pain, setbacks. The Stoics never denied that. But they believed you could choose how to interpret those moments. You could either be consumed by frustration, or pause and look for what's still good. Let's say your job is stressful. You can focus solely on the pressure, or you can notice what it's teaching you: patience, resilience, skill. Maybe your day feels overwhelming. But the fact that you're alive to live it is something worth noticing. Gratitude doesn't erase problems, it reframes them. Even during hard times, there's often something to be thankful for. A kind word. A warm meal. A roof overhead. These may seem small, but they are not insignificant. In fact, they're the foundations of peace that many people take for granted. And don't forget, gratitude isn't just a solo exercise. Expressing it out loud, to your partner, your kids, your friends, your coworkers, strengthens your relationships. Saying, "thank you," doesn't just lift their spirits. It reminds you of how much you've received, and how interconnected your life really is. Gratitude also fuels humility, another Stoic virtue. When you acknowledge what you've been given, whether through effort, fortune, or the kindness of others, you become more grounded, less entitled, and more aware of your place in the world. So how can you practice gratitude starting today? Start small. Keep a journal. Reflect each night on what went well, or what didn't go your way but still taught you something. Say, "thank you," more often. Pause before meals or moments of quiet and acknowledge what you're lucky to have. And above all, slow down. Gratitude lives in the present. When you rush, you miss it. But when you breathe, observe, and reflect, you'll start to see the good that's always been there, waiting to be noticed. In the end, focusing on the good stuff you've got doesn't mean giving up ambition. It means anchoring your life in appreciation before chasing the next thing. Because when you live from gratitude, you stop chasing happiness, and start realizing it was with you all along. 13. Do the right thing even when it's hard. Integrity is the ultimate power. There are moments in life when the easiest path isn't the right one. Moments when doing what's honest, fair, or kind requires sacrifice. Maybe it costs you money, popularity, comfort, or even a relationship. But deep down, you know, doing the right thing still matters. To the Stoics, it mattered more than anything. Integrity wasn't optional. It was essential. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it, if it is not true, do not say it." That might sound strict in today's world of compromise and convenience. But the Stoics believed that character is your greatest asset, not your resume, not your reputation, but your inner compass. Doing the right thing isn't about being perfect or self-righteous. It's about being aligned with your values, your conscience, and your higher self. When your actions match your beliefs, you experience something rare, peace of mind. That peace is worth more than temporary gain. Because shortcuts, lies, and betrayals might bring quick rewards, but they always come with a price. Guilt. Shame. A sense of disconnection from who you really are. And eventually, those costs catch up. Research confirms this. Studies show that people who act according to their values, even when it's hard, experience higher self-esteem, deeper life satisfaction, and lower levels of anxiety. Why? Because they trust themselves. And that's powerful. When you know you'll do the right thing, no matter what, you become unshakable. But doing the right thing isn't always clear-cut. Life is messy. People are complicated. And sometimes, what's right isn't obvious. The Stoics knew this, too. That's why they emphasized self-reflection. Before acting, ask yourself, am I acting out of fear? Ego? Anger? Or am I doing what's just and fair, even if no one sees it? One of the most radical ideas in Stoic philosophy is this: you don't need applause. You don't need to be praised or rewarded for doing the right thing. You do it because it's right. Full stop. That kind of mindset gives you freedom. You're no longer chasing approval. You're not worried about being liked. You're focused on being good, which, in the Stoic sense, means being courageous, just, wise, and disciplined. Let's be honest, this isn't always easy. Sometimes. The right thing is walking away from a toxic job, even if it means financial strain. Sometimes it's telling the truth when lying would protect your image. Sometimes it's standing up for someone when it's uncomfortable. These moments test you. But they also define you. And the more you practice integrity, the stronger it gets. It becomes your default. Your decisions get clearer. Your confidence grows, not the fake kind that depends on likes or titles, but the real kind that comes from knowing exactly who you are. Doing the right thing also sets an example. Whether you realize it or not, people are watching. Friends. Family. Co-workers. Strangers. When you live with integrity, you give others permission to do the same. You raise the standard, not by preaching, but by being. And even if no one notices, you'll notice. You'll carry yourself differently. Sleep more peacefully. Speak more truthfully. And live more freely. As Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, don't let fear of judgment keep you from living rightly. Do the right thing, even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when no one claps. Because at the end of the day, integrity isn't about how things look, it's about how they feel when you're alone with your thoughts. And when you choose what's right over what's easy, you build something stronger than success. You build a life you're proud of.